team is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Well, howdy, folks. How you going? Thank you so much to everybody who contacted me for my birthday last Friday. Thank you so much. I was inundated with text messages and messages through email, messenger, God, every kind of way they turned up. So thank you very much to everybody. No, it wasn't much of a birthday. I didn't do anything. Would have done a show with you, actually. But back was buggered. I've, by the look of it, I've managed to do something to the same rib that the Thai assassin managed to put out a little while ago. So they're saying that, oh, well, you've got a pre-existing weakness there now. So when you go and do a stupid thing, that stupid thing's likely to reoccur in the middle of your back. Isn't that fun? So I'm just looking actually for the thing that has been saving my ass today. So I could show you, and all I've got is the empty box, which isn't good. But, folks, this rubber massage ball, my God, best thing ever. Just the best thing ever. Can take it with you anywhere. Really good to find out when the bus is level. But I've got it here on the desk somewhere. But I have had it in the middle of my back on the chair for most of the day, and it gives me a great deal of relief. So too do the X39 patches. I've been wearing one of those pretty much for the last 3 or 4 days, and it takes a lot of the inflammation out of it, and that is for me a lot of the pain. It can't do anything about, putting a bit of bone back where it should be, or a bit of cartilage back where it should be, or whatever. But it does help with the inflammation, and being able to get that moved back in then when the inflammation goes down makes it a lot easier. So I have been very thankful for the few patches that I've got left here. They've been, very gainfully employed. In fact, I've got one on right now. So, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yesterday got a little bit better. Today, feeling a bit better. I've been out driving today just to see, because I couldn't get into the car for the weekend. It was rather uncomfortable. So anyway, that'll teach me to try and lift up a 3.5-ton trailer using the jockey wheel. Not as young as I used to was. Ain't that the way it is, folks? Ain't that the way it is? Hello to you all. Merry Christmas. It is the week before Christmas, and all through the house there was just complete madness. Not fit for a mouse. But just what I was thinking. Sunflower, God love you. Thank you so much for my birthday. Really, really appreciate your sticker. I've got some comments here that got to find the right thing that I starred. G'day, Paul. You're heading off into Ainsley tomorrow. Hey, good stuff. Say hello to Paul if you happen to be talking to him. If you're not talking to him, then just tell whoever you're talking to say hello to Paul. Don't forget to mention Voice of Freedom. You know how it goes. Hey, Bruce, how are you? I hope you and the lovely Peter are gearing up for a fine Christmas in Maryborough. I can't remember now whether it's Maryborough. No, I'm pretty sure Maryborough is the Queensland version and Maryborough is the Victorian version. So getting a little confused. I hope you and Peter are gearing up for Christmas, mate, and all the best to you. I hope that goes really well. Aussie Sue with some of the best advice ever, and she's always the first one in to say it. God love her. Thank you, Suze. I hope you are not melting. Well, actually, melting probably won't be your problem up in Mount Isa at the moment. You're probably getting the back edge of Jasper or the front edge of Jasper or all that sort of shit. So imagine there's probably a bit of rain up there. Baz, Cairns Airport still underwater. I saw some amazing pictures of Cairns Airport with, aircraft up to their wings. Not just light aircraft, like mid-sized aircraft. So, it's it's going to be a shit fight in Cairns. There's going to be a very big insurance bill and a very big cleanup, I suspect. And you're going to find crocodiles in some strange places. Now, one of the areas just north, I think about 60 k's north of Port Douglas, has had to be evacuated, a town there, an Aboriginal settlement where I think 9 people spent the night on top of the hospital, on the roof of the hospital, and they got out today. I think they wound up self-rescuing in the end. Now, can you imagine, it's not just the logs and stuff that's floating around in that water. All the way up there, it's all full of saltwater crocodiles. I mean, my God. So I tried ringing my good friend Rob today up in, well, he's just north of Cairns, and I haven't been able to get through. So hopefully Rob and his wonderful family are okay. They've copped a lot of rain where they are. There's been a lot of landslides over the roads, and many of you may have seen Ellis Beach, some vision from Ellis Beach today. That is like truly postcard beautiful place if you don't look at the stingers and the crocodiles. And it has been pummeled. There is a lot of crap all over the road, but that's not the half of it. There's not one but 2 landslides on the southern edge of town that would be heading towards Cairns. They're going to take some days to clear, some weeks, I suspect, to clear. Literally half a mountain has come down on the road, which is right beside the beach. There's nowhere else for it to go. So our thoughts are with everybody up in that area, whether you're sort of one side of the blockage or the other. And I believe that's going to mean some pretty significant issues for transportation and supplies going north. I don't know how many roads there are. You can go up through Mareeba and out the back. So that will be one way, be able to get up to, say, Cooktown. But I'm unsure at the moment. I think Cooktown might have not skated through, but been able to get through okay. But there are very severe road blockages. In fact, you may have seen pictures, as I have, of the highway that has dropped the better part of 1.5 or 2 meters, just like that. Pretty wild stuff for, well, looks more like an earthquake, I suppose, than a landslide. But then if you get a good look, you can see that the road has sort of slipped sideways as well. So it's yeah, it has slipped, but it's slipped a long way, like 1.5, as I say, 1.5 to 2 meters. So, yeah, that's a big one. Zippy, you're having a birthday? No, sorry, Pegs is having a birthday Thursday. Is it this coming Thursday? Was it last Thursday? Happy birthday to you, Pegs, and stay safe, won't you? Don't go and do loud, outrageous things on your birthday. Oh, okay, but I guess you can, depending on how old you're going to be. Tell me, I'll tell you from my perspective, at 58, there was no loud, outrageous things going on. There's a lot of moaning, a lot of groaning, and because I'm a man, a shitload of whinging. But then I put the patches on, and yeah, had a, I'm not going to tell you it was pain-free. It's still not pain-free. And that's because this rib of mine still isn't back in properly, but the swelling and the area around it that was extremely painful is not any longer. And that means that I can sleep through the night and I can actually lie on my left side, whereas before, without the patch, I couldn't lie on my left side at all. So by the time I get up in the morning, I'm ready for another patch. I'll take this one off probably an hour after the show finishes, and then put another one on again tomorrow morning after a shower. So, but it works for me. It's working for me really, really, really well. So if you want to find out more about it, hang on, I'll put the ticker up so you can find out for yourself where the link is if you don't already have it. And hello to everybody. I'm not sure that everybody I meant to send an invite to the Zoom meeting that we had last night with Tim Dwyer on the X39 patches. I'm not sure that everybody got that. So if you've bought X39 patches, you would have or should have got an email from me inviting you to a Zoom. It doesn't matter that you didn't attend or whatever. That's all good, no problems. But if you didn't get one, that's probably because I was a dickhead and didn't send it to a large portion. I don't think. I'm not sure. But anyway, we had 20 or so people last night who were very interested in learning a bit more about the business end of X39. And Tim gave a wonderful chat. We heard some great stories from people who are using it. I've got promises of video coming in at the moment. I think people are having a bit of a hard time uploading it. So I've got a Dropbox that I'll send you a link to, and then all you've got to do is drag and drop your video file into that box, and there I can download that at my end, and I can cut up, have a bit of a look, and if you allow me, then I'll share it with everybody. But I've also had some really cool emails. I was going to do this a little later on, but just let me bring up. I'll do one from Roy. So he has found that putting on the patches has not given him instant miracle healing. And I think that's important to remember. There's no promise of such a thing. In some people, there is miraculous improvement. In other people's, it takes a little slower or a little longer period of time. So he says the patches have not been an instant miracle healing. He has found relief. The pain was unbearable, and often I turned to painkillers, he says in his email. In the last 4 days, the pain is less than moderate. He says, I want to buy a packet of patches. So I've sent him a link to do that. So that's great. Less than moderate for the last 4 days. And if he can keep that going for a month, it might be a lot less than moderate. So it might be less than minimal. Wouldn't that be great if we can get to that? So Roy, God love you. Stuart also wrote to me, and Stuart writes to me a lot, and he was in last night's chat. We had a little bit of an explanation to what happened to him. Now, his patches arrived, and he donned them and immediately got this huge, great, wonderful burst of energy. I'm not sure if that was on the drum kit or outside somewhere. It must have been outside somewhere, because at some point he has managed to step on, fall over, fall into a mower. I think it was a mower. It was. I don't know that it was running, but whatever it's done, it's certainly done a little mischief to his leg about the whole thing. And that was because he was going at things like a bull at a gate. He had the patch on. He was feeling really good. And as I've said, I think to you previously, I get quite a boost out of it, quite a focus, quite an energy. And others have reported the same thing. So maybe that's happening for you too. Certainly happened for Stuart, and he got a little bit excited, zigged when he should have zagged, and stumbled, fell, and took a bit of a gash out of himself. So be aware, folks. If you're getting these patches on and you suddenly get this great spur of energy, you haven't had it in a while, your coordination might not be there. You may have gained a few years and a few kilos. So just be a little bit careful. That's my wish for you. There are a few other things. I might see if I can come back to those a little bit later on. Now, I'll flick back to the chat very quickly just to see what's got in here. Sunflower, my God, you're going mad tonight. There are a lot of people in there waving hello to everybody. It's such a wonderful family that we have here in the Voice of Freedom chat. And tonight I am actually keeping an eye on the Rumble chat too. For some reason, Project Matilda, who I have been on and off streaming to for the last week or so, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm sure that's more to do with me than it is Project Matilda, but I am going to go and try and find out what's going on with that a little bit later on. Having a bit of a great day. There is Chriso. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. Merry Christmas to you, mate. Thank you for your birthday wishes. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, mate. I hope things are going well for you. I know that life does present us challenges at times. So I'm really hoping that that the ones that have been presented to you, you found a way through. Who else we got floating around? Agate Master. Phil, I don't think I said hello to you earlier too. G'day, mate. Nice to see you. And same for the birthday wishes. All right. Doesn't look like too many folks have got too many questions at this point in time. Although, wow. Okay. My chat just grew a lot. Geez, there must be a few of you in there talking. Thank you, Joe. Great. No worries, Joe. I just hope they work for you, mate. Let us know. Let us know if they do. Let us know if they don't, equally. I'm just as keen to hear if they don't. So, they can't work for everybody. That's important to understand and know. It doesn't matter if 2 people out of 100 it doesn't work for. 98 people won't care, but it certainly matters to the 2 people it doesn't work for. So I sincerely hope. And a lot of you are only, getting 2 patches. Many of you have bought your own patches now, so you'll have a packet of them. But some of you only got 2 patches, and that just might not have been enough to see a significant difference. There might have been a lot of other things that you were taking at the time, whether it be your own medication or you're self-medicating or whatever. There's a lot of reasons that you may not have felt anything, and that could be because your stem cells needed to go to work on things that you can't feel inside you, but are very, very important. So I don't know. I've heard stories about improvements in things like I don't know what the name of the test is for bowel cancer, but I've heard of people who've gone in and had that test done and come back with a high number, meaning there is a certain kind or form of cancer in there, and then been on these X39s for 3 or 4 months and gone back for another test, if you like, to see where the level is. They haven't done the chemo, and lo and behold, it's not 0, but almost, without any other form of treatment. And in fact, last night Tim Dwyer was telling a story which he will get the video access to, pardon me, of a lady, I think it's also with bowel issues, might be bowel cancer, went into hospital in great pain, and all they wanted to offer her was 2 chemo tablets. She doesn't have chemo. She's not doing chemo. She's not doing any of that. And before you can have those tablets, I believe you've got to do some kind of a, pre-medical, work your way up to it. Well, they just wanted to dump 2 of them into her. And she refused. Husband refused. They didn't want to give her any other pain medication. Nothing else seemed to be working anyway. Somebody went home and got a patch, came back, put it on her. 90 minutes later, she checked herself out of the hospital, walked out, no pain, no nothing. Well, still a little bit of pain, but the story continues. We're hopeful of getting the video for that. So I would certainly like to go and share that if we do get that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yep. Thank you to everybody who sent me a greeting, whether it be via text or via email or via some form of electronic communication. I didn't see too many people on my birthday, unfortunately. The Galactic Larrikins were looking forward to going out for lunch, and there was a chance that Cass was going to come and join us as well. But I just simply, I couldn't have got myself to anywhere for lunch, and I wouldn't have been much fun sitting propped up in the chair. So, yeah, it never happened. But, there are plenty of other chances to go and have some lunch. We will figure that out. All right, let me just scan down here a little more, see what we've got. Chris. Yeah, okay. Heavy duty pain meds for 20 years. Well, I hope that that they help her too, mate. I was talking to Carol. She's one of the people who's sending me a video. In fact, I got a phone call from her husband late on last Friday night, the night of my birthday. They'd been celebrating my birthday without me. And the first words out of John, her husband's mouth, were, "You're a bastard. Make her stop." And that was because right now, Carol's got so much energy. She's feeling so good. She's working her way around. They've got a property, a beautiful property, and they have quite a number of horses, including little Elvis, who's a Shetland, a whole heap of other wildlife, and, a couple of koalas, including a baby one I took some photos of, I should show you. So Carol is now not staggering around the property, not lying in bed, needing a nap in the middle of the day. Carol is actually apparently cracking the whip around John, getting him to hurry up. So he's not on the patches, unfortunately, but we will get him sorted on that eventually. I have no fear. There is a reason behind all of that, but it certainly proves a very interesting test between two people, one who's on them and one who's not. John can't believe how much energy that Carol's now got. And hopefully she'll come on and tell us herself in the next couple of days. So she's also going to try and bring Hugo on, because all her patches, her used patches, go into Hugo, her 14-year-old adopted dog's bed. Now, Hugo's got a bad hip, bad leg, and hasn't been jumping on the bed or off the bed for quite some time, hasn't been going for long walks. You can see that he's been in a lot of pain. Well, since Carol's been filling up his bed with these patches, these used patches, Hugo's all of a sudden got a whole heap more life in him. He's jumping back up on the bed, back off the bed, going for the long walks, doing amazing things. So if you've got patches, you've got an old dog, throw them in the old dog's bed. Okay, if the dog sleeps with you in the bed, well, you love your dog that much, you're not going to worry about having a few of those old patches rolling around wherever the dog is, are you? Really? I mean, yeah, if it's sleeping with you in the bed, I don't think your old, used patches are going to worry you too much if you throw them down the bottom of the bed where the dog's going to be. That would be my hope. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. There might be some others. Wow. Okay. All right. Thanks, Wild Aussie Woman. Yep. Look, whatever we can do to help. So whenever they've gone through whatever thing they have to go through, you can certainly do it yourself. I mean, I don't know if you've bought patches, but if you have, then you'll have a referral link yourself. So you can run it through yourself, and all you need to do is get 3 people underneath you buying, their patches every month, and you wind up making enough to buy your own or cover your own cost. So it's working for quite a lot of people like that. So, and I wouldn't ask you to, even consider it unless it worked. The fact is, I'm hopeful that in the next, maybe by the end of this week, I've sent a number of these patches to a friend of mine in Germany who is in deep depression, in a lot of pain. He has had multiple operations on his lower spine. He's had fusings, and he's had holes drilled in his hips and bolts and nuts and God knows what put in there, all to relieve back problem that he's had, for some years. And it's only made it worse. He was a regular overseas traveller. Now, I don't think he could sit on a flight for 2 hours, let alone, 22 to get out here to Australia. So I've sent him some of these patches in the hope that they have an effect on him, because he's showing the signs of all the signs that my mate had that killed himself some years ago over the pain and the depression that he was experiencing. So you might know somebody like that. You might know somebody who is in a lot of pain and stoically hides it, or tries to hide it, and sometimes that veil drops. You might be able to change their life with these patches. It's the only reason I'm telling you about you. In fact, if I hadn't have been at Carol's house and watched Carol for 2 days before we got the final patch on her and the final result the third day, I saw her for a full day and a half without any patch at all, and the issues that she was having, and her face, the look on her face, right? I don't want to. She had a heavy face, as a lot of people do when they're in pain, because they're always sort of, half wincing. And if you've had that for 30 plus years, then you can start to look like that all the time. Well, it's almost a facelift. It's like a different person. It's amazing. And it was like that after 24 hours, because you could see this veil of pain lifted from her. And when she smiled again, it was a deeply genuine smile. Not that her previous smiles weren't genuine, but to really smile and put your body into it hurt her, as it does a lot of people with different kinds of pain. It doesn't have to be back pain. So that look on people's faces, that look on her face, and Carol is as straight as a Robin Hood arrow. I mean, she's not going to tell you lies for me, and she would certainly not tell lies to me just to make me feel happy. Carol is one of those ladies that tells you when a spade is a shovel, and if you can't figure that out, you're going to get smacked in the head with it. She's a good woman, and John's a very lucky man. Unfortunately, he used to be able to run fast enough to avoid that shovel, but he's in a bit of shit these days. All because of the patches. God love him. But yeah, they do have an effect, folks, hopefully on you. They may not have it on everybody, but they have had it on me. And I have only had 2 emails now telling me from the 100 odd that I've sent out, 100 patches or so that I've sent out, 2 emails saying that they had no effect at all, which is sad. One of those people agreed that it might be because they've had some long-term, pretty serious stuff done to their body, and it just might take a little bit longer. So they went off and decided to go and buy a month's worth anyway and try it out. And at the end of a month, I think you've probably given yourself the best chance you can to make them work. And if you're not feeling any better or any benefit after a month, then I would never, ever suggest that you go back and spend your money again, unless you feel that there's somebody else you want to try them on. You buy them for them. But in your own case, look, if they're not going to work, they're not going to work. But 2 may not be enough. Those ones that I've sent you, I just tried to help as many people as possible in the lead up to Christmas. And I think now, let me just open my little spreadsheet. I'm pretty confident that as of right now, pretty sure I've sent everybody on my list at least 2 patches. Some people, because they had I don't know, better stories, or I couldn't count at the time, might have got 3. But the goal was to give everybody 2 patches, and I think right now I have covered everybody. You should, fingers crossed, Australia Post, and I'm not going to bag them because, hey, look, it's Christmas, and the people who are working at Australia Post are doing the best job that they can. I am so impressed with the ones around this area. They actually turned up today to deliver something rather than drove to the edge of the driveway, heard 2 dogs barking, and then backed out and drove away again, and then sent a message saying it's at the local post office, which is always fun to go to during Christmas, isn't it? Oh, I loved going and buying stamps to send those things to you folks, the things I do for you. standing in Christmas queues at post offices. And then you find when you get there, there's a little Chinese man who doesn't speak English very well, and he's the only person there. Poor bugger. I'm still not sure that card that I sent the patches into my friend in Munich has gone airmail. I asked him to send it airmail, the fastest possible way to Germany. And he gave me a stamp worth $3 and had some other little tiny stamp that he stuck underneath it. And I queried it. I said, "Oh, is that airmail?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And he just pointed at the big stamp and the $3. And I'm like, right. So I have no faith that it'll get there before Christmas. It may get there before New Year. If not, we might get it in the first or the second week of January to him. But at least it's on the way. So I'm very hopeful that I can help him with his pain, as I am with you and yours. So the website, if you like, is on the ticker there down the bottom. Copy that down, put that into your browser, and go and order if you so desire, and try them out. I haven't got any more that I can send you at the moment. Everything that I do have has actually got a bags on it, and one of those bags is mine. I do have, if I can just find them, I'll show you very quickly. I haven't used one of these yet because quite honestly, I do get quite an energy boost. But I do have these things as well. These are the LifeWave Energy Enhancer patches. Now, I don't know this fella, but Tim Dwyer was telling me that it's one of his friends who got some of these. His friend is 61 or 2 years of age and is a builder's labourer. Went back onto a job site recently after putting his patches on, and was flogging 30-year-old blokes on the website, on the work site. They couldn't keep up with him. He said he couldn't believe it. So I'm a bit dangerous. There's a fair bit of mass going around here. Inertia is my friend, not yours, remember? And when I start walking, this energy boost that I've got is quite enough at the moment. I'm a bit concerned about what this will do to me, but I will give it a go. That is the plan from Boxing Day. I'm going to get on those and see what they do. There has been some other interesting changes in my life, which I haven't spoken to you about. I will get to a bit of intel eventually. So we've spoken about the personal trainer. Now, the personal trainer has there's been a lot of back and forth communication. Let me just put it that way. As part of that back and forth communication, I was challenged. I was challenged to get a cold press juicer, which I had to go and look up. Thankfully, Sharon, the housemate, has one, because I don't really have the $400 to go out and buy one. I'll get to Sharon's. Broke the cold press juicer. Went out, and my challenge is to drink 500 mils of celery juice every morning when I get up. 500 mils of celery juice. 500. 2 zeros. So I've been doing that. I gave myself my first one on my birthday because I thought, well, that'll be memorable. I'll know exactly when I started this, on my birthday. Can I just tell you, drinking celery juice is like licking grass. I mean, there is a certain texture to it, and the only flavor that I can tell you of is wet grass, fresh, wet, cut grass. apparently there is nutritional value to it. All right, which I sort of scoffed at. On day one, I didn't get 500 mils down me. I was actually said, oh, look, if you can get 250 mils into you, that'll be enough for day one. So day one was, oh, God, just awful. I mean, just awful. Anyway, day two, I thought I'd put a bit of apple with it. That might make it taste a bit better. But, oh, no. Tragic error with the personal trainer. Cardinal sin, in fact. Buzz. Very upset. Start again. So I made myself another grass drink. Oh, I forgot to tell you, after the first one, after I'd, got it into me, she said, oh, did you use a strainer? I said, where? At what point? Oh, as the juice came out. I said, well, no, you didn't say use a strainer. Oh, yeah, use a strainer. That would have been really handy news while I was trying to, scoff down 250 mils of the backyard's greatest green. I mean, but anyway. So yesterday, got up, did the whole thing again. Probably didn't get 500 mils into me. Got a bit more than 250 though. And I haven't felt. She's sort of expectantly saying, "Oh, how's things in the bathroom?" And I'm like, "Things seem to be going all right in the bathroom." If any of you play Real Racing 3, that's about the only time I ever do anything else other than this sort of stuff in the bathroom. Real Racing 3, and the bathroom seems to be going quite well. She said, "Oh, all right, yeah." I said, "Oh, no." So yesterday afternoon, late last night, this morning, I came to understand why she was taking an interest. Holy shit. And I mean shit. Fair income, I'm shitting like a pate-fed goose that's been stuffed full of laxatives. It is, well, I had been. I'm all right today, the Savo, but God! People do this to themselves on a regular basis, apparently. Jesus. Who knew that drinking grass could have such... Well, look at cows. I'm not surprised. But some of the stuff that's coming out. And speaking of hell stories of things coming out of your ass, somebody's on this MMS, this is it the MMS? They've been doing a bit of a cleanse and a detox and things. So, there's been some interesting things pouring out of their world as well. The bottom has been falling out of their world, or the world has been falling out of their bottom. And upon inspection of whatever had fallen out, she found two slug-like things, large slug-like parasites that have been living up there in the Jaxie there somewhere. So we do have the parasites in us, folks. We've all got them. There are treatments available for them, and I highly recommend the celery juice to make your eyes water for a while. Who knew that celery tasted a bit like aniseed? I mean, seriously. I don't mind aniseed. Broken 2 teeth on aniseed balls. I love them so much. Haven't had them in years now because of that. But yeah, look, the challenge. Maybe you should try it too. Celery at the moment is, I think, about $4.50 a bunch, and the bunches seem to be quite big because I've usually got a bit left over. But I'm not used to putting it through a machine that grinds it up to liquid. I'm used to cutting it up into a spoon-sized lengths and feeding myself peanut butter on it. But that's another story. This is a new and fascinating way to do things. And who knew that, your housemates cold pressed juicer, I thought I'd buggered it for life. I really had one glass, and I thought I'd buggered the whole. Couldn't get it apart to wash it. It was just, oh god. The things you do for your health, eh? Anyway, I must say it does improve slightly the taste. I mean, as you have more of it. I'm not lying. I'm just wondering if that's really the best way to describe it. I don't find it as bad. Put it that way. I don't find it as bad as I did on the first one. I should have videotaped the first one. I had every intention of it, but got carried away. The cold press juicer was making some strange noises, and we later found out that's because I'd probably been juicing in the wrong direction, and that's why the whole thing was stuffed up. But anyway. Yeah. So a daily glass of grass. Highly recommend it. And the fitness instructor, I don't think is terribly impressed at all. The personal trainer, no. Well, maybe a little bit. Bit concerned that it hadn't hit me sooner, I think. But apparently that had more to do with the state of my liver than anything else. Who knew? So, hello, Tanya. I see you waving in there. Hello, Alana. I'll try and get down the bottom. Oh, God, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Sudsy. Let's have a look here. Caroline Kennedy is our American ambassador to Australia. Australia is registered on the US Securities and Exchange Commission. Does she hold the highest office in the land? Any thoughts? Mum, I told you not to ring me during a show. No. I would say the highest office in the land legitimately is currently vacant. I see where you're going with this, though, Sudsy. This all, for those of you that are wondering why I'm giving this such stupid look on my face, you're seeing me thinking in a million different directions at the same time. This all refers to one of Donald Trump's executive orders. So that being that any country found guilty of trying to influence an American election forfeits all rights and comes under American control. I think Ricardo speaks about this. And if that were to be the case, and I've got to say, I find a great deal of solace in those executive orders, not just that one, but a series of them that he wrote through 2017, 2018 particularly, and a couple in 2020. I get great solace out of those. And that does indicate, one of them, that Australia should, if we've been found guilty, and I imagine we probably have, and that's why we talk about Alexander Downer and his involvement, getting Australia involved in this in the first place. The whole bizarre stories and crap that came out of one meeting in a bar in England, I think in London, with Alexander Downer, a couple of FBI agents, and some guy who, wasn't closely affiliated with Trump in any way, but did have access to the Trump camp. Yes, we were hooked in, and under that executive order, I would say that, yes, there is a significant chance Caroline Kennedy won't be head of state, but would be the senior administrator in the country. of course, the other side of that coin is who is in charge if it's not her. Some people will tell you it's Albanese, but that's just the US corporation and the face of it here in Australia. That government is not the people's government. That government is a US registered corporation. They are, in fact, well, there's a lot going around about that at the moment, which is something else I was going to go and get into. So maybe I'll save it until that. But yeah, that's what I think. I think the whole Caroline Kennedy thing is very interesting, and for sure. Look, if the Q thing comes through, if the Bosey plan is adopted, then I'm sure that she will figure quite strongly in the leadership, at least for the first 3 months or so. Chris, thoughts on the current media situation, Middle East situation, is actually happening in real time now, or is all this part of a movie playing out what we see pre-recorded? A lot of it will be pre-recorded. I saw some intel recently that Israel is now flooding areas of tunnel with salt water. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but back in the early 60s, there was a plan drawn up for Israel to get a channel that would enable shipping to skip between continents, if you like, or skip between oceans, much like the Suez Canal, which is controlled by Egypt. Now, up until very recently, the plan was shelved because initial thoughts about how to dig out this channel was to plant 5 nuclear weapons and blow up the area required. That area just happens to be right through the middle of Gaza. They're very happy to go and make a channel. Trust me, very happy to make a channel through there, because right now Egypt has joined BRICS. Israel hasn't. Everything, and I mean absolutely everything, that gets shipped into Israel has to come through the Suez Canal. And if it's coming through the Suez Canal, it will need to be paid for in gold, not US dollars. So that's why Israel aren't very keen on allowing that to be the only way goods can, get through to them. And so they've reverted back to this 1962 plan, is what we hear, and Netanyahu only spoke about it not long ago in the UN, about reviving this great canal, bringing water back to the deserts, yada, 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 yada. Well, it'll be salt water, so you're not going to be able to grow much in the deserts with that, I wouldn't have thought. But you might be able to desal a bit of it and put it up. I don't know. Quite possible. I don't know what happens on the side of the Nile. But the Suez, or the side of the Suez Canal, rather. But that ostensibly is what I've heard is Plan A with what's going on in the Middle East. As for things happening in real time, look, I don't think we are seeing things happening in real time. It'd be too long here for me to go into explain why I think that, but yeah, no, I don't. I don't think we're seeing things too far delayed. I also think we're seeing a lot of stuff that's been set up, so played out as live, if you like. But I'm not living there, and I don't have people there on either side to give me an honest appraisal. And that's pretty funny. Unless you're Jewish, you don't. I don't have any Palestinian friends who've got, friends and family they're trying to get out. I know that there are a lot of them here in Australia who are deeply worried and concerned about their families. I just don't happen to know any. So it would be great to get some kind of on the ground coverage or knowledge of the hell that they're going through at the moment. But I believe communications out of there are almost impossible unless you have Jewish connections, in which case it is possible to get mobile phone coverage. It is possible to get satellite and TV imagery out. So yeah, Australia, of course, playing a funny game at the moment. So last week, the US Congress ratified the AUKUS deal, and they didn't just ratify it. They agreed to sell Australia 3 Virginia-class nuclear submarines, 2 old ones and a brand new one. When I say old, I'm saying these are current in-service Virginia-class nuclear submarines that have been or will be sold to Australia this financial year. And the deal is for 1 more of those to be produced in the shipyard that produces the American submarines, with a view that Australia could well purchase 2 more. Australia will also gain the rights to be able to service the nuclear submarines, not only for Australia, but for America and the UK. Now, I'm not sure exactly where that base will be located. I know there was a lot of talk that it was going to be in Sydney. I don't think that is the case. There was a lot of talk that it was going to be in Jervis Bay. I don't think it's the case. I think it's more likely that we're going to see it over on the west coast somewhere. There is already a very large naval presence in Fremantle, but once again, location is everything for these things. Particularly if they've got to service the reactor in some way, shape, or form. So they won't want to be doing that in the downtown of a big city. So I don't know. Freo's probably half a chance, but then you have the Fremantle doctor in the afternoons, don't you? What would happen if there was a radioactive cloud? So I don't know. I believe that where that's going to be set up is, still to be figured out. I did hear whispers Western Port in Victoria. That would put it down, somewhere around HMAS Cerberus. Not a bad place for it because it's a training facility there for the Navy too. Of course, we'll have to get our crews over there to get trained on these vessels. And, we'll have retiring submariners who'll be getting out of our current subs. And we'll be getting new submariners coming in, I'd imagine. They will be among the first to be put on a plane, sent to America and given a ride in a Virginia-class submarine. And, they begin their training to bring them home, so to speak, where they're going to be with us for the next 30 or 40 years. It's going to be an interesting deal. So everybody was backslapping, saying, how wonderful is this? AUKUS is happening and the nuclear boats are coming. The next day, the UN calls for a meeting and a vote on sanctions for Israel, continuing the war on Gaza. Australia votes with a great many other countries to say, stop, Israel. Enough. Enough is enough. America, of course, very much on the side of Israel in that fight. So we get our AUKUS submarines and then they push back. No, we're not going to support you on that. But then within 12 hours, we get a request for naval vessels, not 1, but 3, to go to the Middle East, to head to the Red Sea. That's the area where the American ships were attacked recently by the Houthis. So I think we're sending them, as far as I'm aware. They're on their, maybe not on their way yet, but they'll be replenishing, getting themselves sorted out. Everybody will be, kisses goodbye. And I'm sure they will be on their way to the Middle East, more than likely just after Christmas. They will try and either sneak out before Christmas if they can, because Sydney Harbour this time of year is full of pleasure craft. Why? Well, because on Boxing Day, the Sydney to Hobart takes place. So not only are there hundreds of racing yachts that are getting out, doing last preparations, doing sea trials, all that kind of thing. There is more pleasure craft, more spectator craft than usual days out there too. So I think you'll find the Navy, if they are sending them, will want to get them out before Christmas. But if not, it'll be after the Sydney to Hobart gets out and around the heads. They'll try and sneak out in the background, I'm sure. Not even sure that they'll leave from Sydney. It's possible that they'll store and send boats out of, I know there's one in Cairns at the moment, and I think there's a couple in Darwin. So it could be any of those boats that go. We'll wait and find out. As soon as I learn which ones are heading out, I'll let you know. I believe the first one, though, will probably go pretty soon. Just seeing what else you've got here. Alana, frequency music for healing and study. I've been reading a lot about that while I've had a crook back. In fact, I've actually been having a bit of email with somebody who is in the experimental stages of making some sort of frequency healing device, and got to say, could have really used it. The iTerra wand has been in the bus. I've only just gone and picked it up today when I went driving, so I'll actually have that on my back tonight. So fingers crossed that will do quite well. It usually doesn't let me down. Between the iTerra wand and that rubber ball, woohoo! Bloody great stuff. Okay. All right, Alana. The government's trying to foist responsibility from the RBA so that they can ban cash and bring in a digital bank currency. Passing legislation over Christmas to sneak it in, then they can ban cash. Well, I don't know that I don't know how much truth there is in that. There has been an inquiry going on in our, I'm not sure if it wasn't across both houses, but it's certainly in the Senate, into cash in our society and how banning it just isn't going to be possible. Now, while the government might want to do that kind of thing, bear in mind they are only a corporation, and that huge Optus outage where businesses had to close down for the day because they didn't accept cash, or people didn't have any cash, they only had their plastic card. Well, if you didn't learn from that you need cash, think about it. If there is a war, all right, and just let's think China attacks Australia, right? What will be the first thing they will attack? The electricity infrastructure. Shut down the power grids. How long will the bank generators last keeping your ATM running? How long will the generators last to keep the gates open from the security firm that's got to get the money out of the powered time lock safes so that they can put them in their vehicles and drive them around to the ATMs and restock them so that you can get cash? Don't get caught without cash. Do not. Use it at every opportunity. When the bank says, most people don't use cash these days, we've got no demand. When you go into a bank, and I know the ANZ and the NAB both do it, they have a wrangler at the door that will direct you and take you to an ATM and help you there rather than have you go down and be seen by a teller. Don't be dissuaded by the wrangler at the door. Go down and see a teller, because they don't count people turning up at the bank as people who turned up at the bank if you're misdirected at the door to go and use a teller machine under their direction, whether it's depositing money, checking balances, taking money out, whatever you want to do. They will make sure that you can do it from the machine rather than have to tick a box that say, oh, there was another real person standing at our bank teller window today that wanted our help. And I can't understand the mentality of the people who are working in the friggin' banks, because all they're doing is cutting themselves out of a job. They're going to be in the next round of cuts. Oh, we're going to shut that bank, and that bank, because nobody goes in there. Well, that's because one of your stupid employees believed you when you said, stand out the front, it's going to be really good for business. Tell everybody to use the teller machines. And they do it. I mean, seriously. Some people just not smart, eh? But it is what it is. So I guess many of you over the weekend will have heard a lot about grandmother's law. Have you heard much about that? There are a lot of people who are working on grandmother's law, LORE, around the country. And I have to be honest, I'm very impressed with their desire to get their message out. They're doing Zooms a couple of times a day to explain to people exactly what this is all about. And they're explaining it from the research that they've done and explaining how the two different sides of Australia, if you like, First Nations and First Settled, have come together in what they believe is a solution going forward for all of Australia, the people of Australia. They even have a people's bank sort of to a point. I've talked with Tim Dwyer about it. I've talked with a few other people about it. I've looked at all the documents that I've been sent. I'm not sure that I have them all, but I'm pretty sure I do. And I've looked at a number of videos that I've been sent to. There are a lot of people claiming that Anastasia Plakafak is only gone because of a letter that was sent by these people to her office a couple of weeks ago. Well, that's an easy thing to claim. And I hadn't heard anything about that, but I had heard a lot about unions pushing her out. So I think there's going to be some pushback from the community about this. If you apply, and I only have a very basic First Nations knowledge, but I'm confident in the knowledge that the tribes were never united under any one law, grandmothers or grandfathers. Sure, every tribe had its own form of grandmother law, but because the tribes that we're talking about were warring tribes, nomadic tribes, right? That law pertained very strictly to that particular tribe. And while I'm sure that there were similarities between grandmother law in, one tribe versus another, there would have also been significant differences, particularly for those grandmothers that were separated by distance from one end of the country to the other. Those grandmothers' law would be slightly different. So I am a little bit concerned about how we can have grandmother's law supposedly from, one united tribal First Nations perspective. Because nowhere in any history is there anything that says that existed. But like I say, I only have a basic knowledge of these things. I haven't done the study that the people who have put this out have. They've certainly gone to a huge amount of effort, and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. I want to learn more about it. But I think this whole grandmother law thing, I'm really happy to be proved wrong, but see how this overarching, grandmother's law that protects all of us. And God, it'd be wonderful if it did, but not sure the other side are going to see it that way or acquiesce quietly if that is the case. And so, yeah, pretty interesting if you see, things like pluck a duck being removed and all that. But I only heard about, grandmother's law being behind that after the fact, not before, whereas I heard about the unions gunning for her well before she got shot, so to speak. A shot duck, a shot plucker. You shouldn't be smiling, that's a bad thing. So yeah, weird. Anyway, keen to learn more if people want to try and explain that to me, and I'm sure there are many of you who will, but I'm just not feeling it yet. Not saying I never will, but just not feeling it right yet. I don't think I've got too much more for you tonight. Oh, shit, look, I've been going over an hour. All right, look, I just wanted to mention Christmas is coming up. If you haven't already done so, I would, if you've got a loved one who likes doing a lot of driving, buy them a dash cam for Christmas, all right? Because the Voice of Freedom just might have a show idea for next year, but we're going to need some dickhead on the road sort of content. So if you have one of those jobs that leads you to be out among the dickheads on the road a bit, then we're going to give you a place to send us some of that vision. But to capture that vision, you're going to need a dash cam. So if you haven't already got one and you've got someone in the family, or you think, look, they're just a great insurance get too, because, if you're ever in a bingle, sure as sweet little angels, if you don't have that dash cam, the persons whose fault it was that you got into that bingle are going to blame you, and it'll be their word against yours. The dash cam is a very, very useful tool to help protect you. Also, an amazingly good tool at convicting you when you're the one that's the dickhead. So just be aware, it is a broadsword. It has two edges, the one that goes that way and the one that goes that way. So, watch out for that. But, yeah, dickheads on the roads doing, dangerously dickhead type things. That's something, that's sort of a working title, if you think that'll work. Maybe you've got a better one. We'll see how that goes. I'm just having a bit of a glance down here to check out. Yeah, that's right, Russ. That's what I was referring to. Joe King, I love what you're saying there. The Chinese are going to end up building our subs. You are right. Now, look, there are plenty of underground sonar technologies and that we could have, remote sonar technology. In fact, I'm sure we do have some of them in sensitive areas. I'm sure they're probably expensive, but we are an island. We should be reasonably easy to defend against a depleted navy that's going to have to sail a bloody long way to get here, and going to need to refuel, rearm, do all those sorts of things. So that's why it's in our best interests to keep our Pacific neighbours on our side, because Chinese Belt and Road going into the Solomon Islands or into Tonga or wherever else they're planning, and it is everywhere else they're planning. Fiji, I think, is also on their list. And so too is Port Moresby, New Guinea. Now, those governments are taking the Chinese yen. Those governments will convert to BRICS. Those governments will allow the Chinese to suck them into a debt trap that is going to break the nation, but it will give the Chinese port and air facilities all the way across the Pacific. How long before they start knocking on Darwin and Cairns' door, do you think? It's not going to be long. So, yeah, bear that in mind. So my thoughts and prayers, I know many of yours will be with everybody in Far North Queensland. A big cleanup underway, and I know that folks down here in Brisbane have been through that a few times, the big cleanup, and there's been an army that have come to support. Let us know if you need help up there. I don't even know if we can get to help you, but maybe we can help mobilize a few folks who can get to you if you are in need of help. By all means, reach out. Anything we can do, we will attempt to try and do, and hopefully make a bit of a difference in your world before Christmas. What an awful time for this to happen. I guess Christmas presents have been lost. Property has been lost. Christmas trees have been lost. You might be having Christmas in a car this year. I hope that's... God bless you and keep you safe if you are suffering in Far North Queensland. Well, you're suffering anywhere at the moment. Thank you for your love and support, folks. I can't do this without you, and it's humbling when you get so many messages on my birthday. People just thinking to wish me a happy birthday. Thank you so much. Couldn't do this without your support, and it's the little things. Yes, okay, the dollars help, but it's the little things that really reach out. Today, I was up the street, fella toots his horn and yells out the window, "G'day, Carl." I haven't had that walking down the street in a little while. So, yeah, you know, it's nice to see smiling faces waving back at me. So thank you for that, folks. And if you've got your patches and you're smiling and you're waving back, then make a bloody video and send it to me. Or don't. Just send me an email telling me how good it's gone for you, or how bad. If it hasn't worked for you, well, you know, like I said earlier, I'm very sorry for that. But in 98% of cases at the moment, at any rate, it seems to be working pretty well. Be safe, folks. If you're going back out into that Christmas traffic tomorrow, God bless you. Be safe and dodge those dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!